I spend years, and still do, trying to plan and vivid vision my life, and I find always that it doesn't work so good. And I have a really good example in photography to go along with it about a different way to find out what you're supposed to do with your time on this earth. If you choose, for my overthinking friends, we know that's a problem. If you choose what you're supposed to do with life, you're going to come up with this big list of things, this big plan. And with plans, the problem is you can make them all perfect on paper. You can also find a million reasons why your plan won't work. Plans are inherently both perfect and impossible, depending on how you tell a narrative around what you want to do. So I have a different way. I have a different way to life, let's say. About 10 something years ago, I picked up photography. I love it. It changed my life, photography. I got a bunch of cameras now. And I've been doing this for a long time. And so about 2-3 years in, I'm going on Instagram and I see all these people that have a very specific style. I see a Peter McKinnon picture. I'm like, it's Peter McKinnon. I see somebody else's picture. I still see it today. I'm like, that's that guy's picture. That's this person's picture. That guy has that style, or that gal has this style. There's a woman in my town who shoots skyline photos of Austin, and I know her photos as soon as I see one. She has a style. So I go to the internet and go, how do I find my style? I want my photos to be Alex. I want you to look at me like, that's Alex's photo. He's got what is it? Is it color? Is it composition? What is it that makes a style? So I go on the internet, I look. You know what I found? I found nothing. I couldn't believe it. And so I gave up on finding that answer. And I just went off and I just kept shooting. I just kept shooting. And probably a year ago, 2 years ago, I'm on Reddit and I just stumbling and I'm on a photography board and somebody goes, hey, I want to try to find how do I find my photographic style? How do I find my style? I can't seem to do this. And I remember that question because I asked it. And I never got an answer. So, of course, I click on this button and I go, how do you? We'll see if we can get an answer. And in there, Reddit, which is mostly useless and stupid, was like Reddit usually is. There's this profound nugget of wisdom lying in there. And I read it. And the guy says, you will not find your style ever. You won't choose it. You won't decide it. You can't calculate it or conduct it. What you do is you go into the earth, to the world, and you create art. And you create what you feel like creating. And it takes courage to create. So you got to take things that you're not sure of and put them out into the world. It takes courage to go try something new and go try something that's going to fail, something that you don't like. Put art under the world that's probably not that good. A lot of it's not that good. Most of it's not that good. And to do this over time. And so you lean in over time. You lean into what you do like. You do a gig or you do some work. When I first started, I shot cars and houses because they don't move. And when you're new to cameras, you're like, dude, I don't know how to use this thing. How long can you ask somebody to smile for? So shooting people is very intimidating. But now it's all I like to shoot. I've never shoot houses. And I don't shoot cars that much. I like to capture people. I like to tell stories about people. And I have a very specific way of doing it. But it took me a lot of courage. It took a lot of effort, a lot of failure. And I leaned into it. And so the guy says, you just go out there and you shoot what you feel. And you have to really try to stretch so that you have a broad understanding of all the different things that you can do, so that when you reflect over time, you think back and go, well, I don't like that. And I do like this. And as life goes on, the things that you don't like, the list gets really big, and the things you do like gets really narrow. And if you're anywhere halfway decent at life, you start to realize the things that you're good at, some of them are profitable. And if you can narrow it up and you go like, well, I can do these things over here, I like doing them, and I can make more money doing these things that I like, that's the golden ticket. And I look back, as I said earlier, on my art, on my photography, and I think if you looked at some of my work, you'd say, oh, that's Alex's work. It kind of always looks the same. And I can't really tell you what it is that I do. I actually don't edit. I don't have any serious editing styles or, filters or anything like that. I just have my little way. And I think life is the exact same way. I think you have to go off and try things and fail and be embarrassed and fail and then try other things and reflect. And I think as you reflect, you will look back on your life and you say, for me, for example, everything I do with people. Same as photography. It's people-oriented. I'm a hyper extrovert. I love people more than anything. If you try to force this at 25 or even 30, and you try to calculate what you're supposed to do, you're going to fail. You don't have enough reps yet. And sometimes, depending on how much courage and how much of the world you've seen, you just haven't had enough exposure. And if you try to calculate what you're supposed to do with your life without enough exposure to how big life is or enough attempts, you're going to build yourself a small life because all you know is small. So, to some, try a lot of things. Stressful, embarrassing, things you're going to fail at. Try a lot of different things. Go see a lot of the world. Go see a lot of the world. If you meet every single person in the United States, that's 350 million people. If you shook all of their hands, you'd still only know 4% of the world's population. That's nobody. So go see a lot of the world. Try a lot of different things: sales, art, business, accounting, sports. Try everything. Fail at it, but reflect and decide what works and what doesn't work, and reflect over long periods of time. All the things that I do like to do they have a theme? And as you get better in life and you try more things, you'll start to notice themes. And then you can lean into the themes and you can start cutting the things that you really don't like. And you can start getting better at saying no. And then you become something that really energizes you. And you do things that you're good at and are profitable. And then you find out in retrospect what you're supposed to do. And I'm going to leave you with this incredibly powerful quote from Infinite Jest: almost nothing important that ever happens to you happens because you engineer it. Destiny has no beeper. Destiny always leans in, trench-coated out of an alley with some sort of psst that you usually can't hear because you're in such a rush to or from something important that you've tried to engineer. Destiny has no beeper.